everyone, and welcome to the Highly Visible Podcast. I am Cullen, and I will be your resident PC principal this evening. Thomas doesn't get that joke. And I am here with the usual suspects, Dan
Yes, sir.
and Thomas
Hi.
and Caden.
You PC, bro? You PC?
I do respect you, bro. And today we're going to be talking a little bit of South Park. Doing a new little thing we got an idea for. Going to start talking some things that make us nostalgic, and we're going to lead off with South Park. Does anyone have an episode that just really touches their soul that they need to lead off with? Dan.
Yes, absolutely. One of my favorite that brings me back is absolutely Make Love Not Warcraft. But for a different reason. I wasn't a Warcraft kid, but it reminds me of my Halo 2 days. Sitting up in my buddy's bedroom, drinking Faygo an unhealthy amount, playing Halo 2.
Same.
Oh, yeah.
What happens in that episode, Dan?
My future. What would eventually become of me.
The most horrific bedpan scene I've ever seen in media ever.
It's amazing. It's top tier. It tests the devotion of any mother, is what it does.
The description on this website that Caden pulled up. All right, credit to Caden. Says, when a character in World of Warcraft starts killing other characters, the boys build up their own characters to take down the pillaging player, blending the South Park animation style with the World of Warcraft style. The episode received a Primetime Emmy Award, quashing Trey Parker's fears that the episode would ruin the South Park legacy. I do remember he did not want to put that episode out at all. I was watching a video about it like a month ago.
Coward.
Why would it ruin it, do you think?
I don't know.
A crossover. Like it contaminates the... Oh. You know what I mean? Like they don't do... I don't know what the word is. Like corporate-y things. And I bet it felt very corporate-like. Like an endorsement
yeah, he probably,
of the game.
Yeah.
That's probably the reason for the over, exaggeration of the bedpan scene.
Yeah.
Because that's above and beyond.
Happens in the bedpan scene, Dan.
He's so fat and immobile because he's so sucked into his game of trying to level up that he hits a little pager button like some douchebag to his secretary and calls his mom in with a bedpan and says, "Ma'am, bet for him." And she runs down there and he pulls his pants down mid-game while slaying boars to get 1 XP, and projectile just blasts shits all over his mom. And she's like, "That's a big boy."
not just shits either. These are, if you're unaware, if you never played Water Warcraft, you do just eat Hot Pocket after Hot Pocket because they don't ever actually make you full, and then bad, terrible things happen to you, and like you're sitting in the chair just fuming yourself until you can't hold it anymore, and then you run to the bathroom because you can't stop playing.
Did you have Warcraft days?
I didn't fail the same math class 2 semesters in a row in college because I couldn't wake up early enough to go to class because I played World of Warcraft until 7 a.m. I didn't have to tell my friend that I shared my account with to change a password and not tell me what it was.
Didn't he ask for more Hot Pockets too? He's like, "Mom, more Hot Pockets."
Yes, he did. Absolutely, he did. They had 4 mouths to feed in that battle station, okay?
Mm-hmm. I feel like I don't think that would ruin it because I think that's what South Park does so good. It's like, well, not that World of Warcraft is like real life, but like it's a real thing that people like play. Mm-hmm. So like, and like they're very good at like making fun of like real life things.
I feel like his big objection probably was that they actually were using like game footage. You know what I mean? Versus like making their parody of it or something. I don't know. As we talked about pre-game, I am the toddler on this episode. I am the dingus. I'm the one that knows the least. I'll be asking all the questions. I watched it for a long time when it was on reruns, and I watched the movies. But I love Trey Parker. Basketball, anybody? Basketball, one of the coolest movies ever. Everyone talks about the '90s and like Adam Sandler movies, but like right in there with all of those movies was Basketball. I love that movie. Trey Parker is an interesting man.
So this article does say that Blizzard helped them, like there were like game creators at Blizzard that helped them, make the episode. So
that's kind of cool.
It's good they had a sense of humor about their own game.
That's what I meant. Yeah, it's cool when companies and creators don't take themselves too seriously. What do you got, Colin?
2 questions. Well, first, we'll just go with this one. What's your favorite South Park episode that's multiple episodes, like trilogy? I think there's a couple that aren't trilogies that are just 2, but there's a few of them, and I was just curious what your guys' favorite was, if you know off the top of your head.
I have two. I like Imagination Land. There were 3 parts that I'm pretty sure where they go into.
That was a 3-parter.
And then where they're trying to decide whether they're going to buy PS4s or Xbox Ones when the mall opens. Pretty sure it's a 3-part, isn't it?
Yeah, that one's multiple. That one's like a whole season.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like it was the whole season.
Well,
I can think of like 12 things that happened in that.
That is in a season, but yeah, it's multiple episodes.
Yeah,
because that's my answer. Yeah.
Who was it? Was it Butters and was it Scott Malcolmson that go to not George Lucas, but
George R.R. Martin.
Yeah, and he's talking about, he's like, when the dragons are coming, he's like, all I see is floppy dicks every fucking episode. He's like, that's all it was. Every time, fucking floppy dicks. He's like, don't worry, the dragons, they're coming. They're coming. He's gotta wait.
The pizzas are coming.
That's a good
So,
episode.
yeah, that series that he's talking about is right when the PS4 and the Xbox One came out.
Yeah.
But they come out and they're trying to decide, like all of the 4th graders are trying to decide which new console they want to play so they can all play together.
Yeah.
And it's like this big Lord of the Rings trilogy, and it's not Lord of the Rings, it's
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, but it's so awesome. That is a good one. I can't think of what it's called, but the pan flute band, I don't know if it's just the pandemic. That's a 3-part or 2 or 3-parter, but there's a bunch of pan flute bands that are at these malls asking, or Peruvian
flute band. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm getting there. And they're at all the malls and they're asking for money, $10 for their CDs or whatever, and all the kids see that and they're like, "Oh yeah, let me like go do that." So they do that, and then right at that, as that happened, all of the Peruvian flute bands are outlawed, and it comes to, you come to learn that they were protecting everyone from giant guinea pigs, and they're literally like, it's actual giant guinea pigs overthrown on top of like South Park, which is awesome. It's so fucking funny.
It is fucking hilarious. But well, they see all these flute bands making money, but they had no money to start their own band, and they see they overheard Craig talking about how his grandma gave him $100 for his birthday. They're like, "Hey man, you want to join our band? You'll triple your money in one afternoon." And the day they go out and start playing, the government kidnaps all of them, and they put them on a plane to Peru. And then they, find out that Craig is like on like a prophecy, like tablet on the wall. He's the one to, get rid of all the giant guinea pigs.
I love the scale of the ridiculousness of the show for sure.
And then they had Randy running around with the camera. He's like, "Oh,
I'm so startled."
But I think that's a play on
Cloverfield.
Yeah, Cloverfield. God, that was a creepy movie too. But yeah,
have you guys seen
first person just
all of them?
Running.
The one with Dan Goodman.
I've not seen
I've
that
only seen
one.
the first Cloverfield.
Oh my goodness, that is so creepy. The way that they do that is that it takes place during, or I believe right after the Cloverfield attack in the big city in the one movie, but it's basically like a hostage movie with Dan Goodman, and like at the very end they're like, "Oh, by the way, there's an alien thing too." It like doesn't even hardly have anything to do with the thing at all. It's just an excuse.
The best part about that movie, 10 Cloverfield Lane, is like the whole time, if you haven't seen the other movies, it just kind of makes you wonder, like, is this dude keeping them hostage, or is he actually trying to help them? Like, is the threat real? Because they don't know.
Right.
He does. And but you don't, and the other people in the vault don't know, or in the bunker.
You find out.
Yeah, that's the coolest part about that movie, is they did so well. But I mean, if you've seen the other movies, then you know. But
one clip from that movie, and he was like opening this giant drum of like some kind of acid.
Yes, sir.
He's like, "This can, melt freaking body parts and shit." He's like, "So what are you showing this for?" He's like, "Am I fucking stupid?" And he's like, "What were you guys using these scissors and stuff for?" They're like, "Oh shit, like he got us." That's all I watched of it though.
I love Dan Goodman. I can't remember what the movie is called. There's a movie with Kevin Bacon where his like son gets into like gangland stuff, and he's trying to like get revenge on the people who killed his son, and he becomes just like one of the gang members or whatever. Dan Goodman plays this like, crime boss type dude with an eye patch and stuff, and he's so badass. Like, that's Dan Connor.
Is he anything like Ardan?
No.
I don't know who this man is.
He's far head and shoulders above.
Yeah, he's probably like a foot taller, and he's like 100,
600
150
pounds.
pounds. Yeah, he's huge.
Jesus Christ.
He's a large man.
He is.
Large man.
He also has a very unique voice.
Mm-hmm.
You could hear, you could tell his fucking voice.
He's got like a commanding presence. Even when he's being goofy, you're like, dig it.
Okay.
I can't think of any episodes I remember that are more than one. But my favorite long running thing, I think, is the Mongolians.
I know one episode about Mongolians, but I don't know.
Well, it was part of one of the games as well. The Stick of Destiny or whatever that game was.
Stick of Truth.
Yes. Yeah. Like it was like a reoccurring thing. I don't know. I'm also obsessed with real Mongolians, so that's probably why I think that's so funny. But like, yeah, just
that
tearing
is
down the wall.
That is one of my favorite. That's a great moment. It's one of my favorite things is him building that wall, and he's like, "God damn Mongolians, you tear down my shitty wall. I'm gonna get you, Mongolian."
I love how they can take the most caricaturish parts of stereotypes, like the parts that are actually funny about them, and squeeze every little bit out of them without doing the shitty parts of them, if that makes sense. Like
they definitely do everything very well.
Kim Jong-un and the Lonely Song and all that stuff, like, oh, so Ronri and Sadri Aron, Team America. That is so good, and I don't think anybody is mad at it. You know what I mean? I think there are Asian people out there who think that song is hilarious.
Absolutely. My second question was, since Tom hasn't seen very many since the year 2010, what your guys' favorite episodes have been that are more recent? And my answer is the whole season that was the election year of 2016 with the member berries and Mr. Garrison turning into Trump and Hillary Clinton. That shit was so amazing. That season was just peak South Park.
It was. And it had who was the whites. Yeah, he's like, they don't care about the whites. He's like, that's their last name. He's like,
and their kid died.
I remember they set up a fox trap in the woods for Mr. Garrison, and then the whites are like, "No, Mr. President, it's a fox trap." It's like a fox like news anchor sitting out in the woods of the little station, just sitting there waiting. And he's like, "Well, Fox News, they'll listen to me." And the guy's like, "No, Mr. President, it's a trap."
God, that shit was so funny.
It's like a double play on words too, because foxes are orange.
Jesus Christ!
Weren't they looking for the president, and they found the principal,
PC principal, and vice principal, strong woman?
Yeah, in the tent. He's like, "You guys are co-workers." He's like,
that shit's so amazing.
Sick. He's like, "What is it?" He's like, "Oh, they're co-workers." I start puking.
I never saw those episodes, but I did see memes about them at the time.
So good, dude.
I think my favorite political episode, the two episodes I could think of that I loved was the Warcraft one, but also the douchebag versus the shit sandwich. I believe it was.
Yeah, and that one's from like 2004 too.
Yeah. I cannot tell you how many times I watched that one. They would replay it during like when Comedy Central did reruns every single night of South Park, like for like 4 straight hours. It was on constantly, and I watched it so many times. It was kind of my political identity for a while.
It's an accurate political identity. Yeah, everything sucks.
A lot of people are in that middle place where they don't really like any of the options for sure.
Do you guys got any other new ones that are super great?
I like the this guy should run Hollywood. That was awesome. That was a good one.
That's super recent.
Yeah, it was that and the Cupid Yee.
The first episode of that was really good of this season, but there are only 6 episodes now, which kind of sucks. But yeah, this guy should run Hollywood. I don't think that episode was actually that great. It's the same thing. I had an older episode where they have the Goobacks, where the episode just ends on such a great joke that you're like, this episode fucks.
I remember the Goobacks. They're aliens, right?
They're time travelers.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be like a big metaphor for South American immigrants or something. I vaguely remember this.
yeah, so the Goobacks they're traveling from the future where they're super poor, and they put all the money in their savings accounts in the past so they can, when their family gets it with all the interest or whatever, they get a shitload of money they can afford to live then. And all the people are that's the they took our gerbs episode.
Yes.
Which is like one of the best sayings in South Park history. And at the end, they're like, the only way we can get rid of them is to, start making our planet better. And it's like this big montage about how they need to make it better tomorrow, and they're planting trees, and they're, doing all sorts of stuff that's good for the environment. And in the middle of this montage, Stan's just like, this is gay. And he's like, what? Like, this is really gay. He's like, yeah, this is gayer than all the men fucking in a pile. Let's stop. He's like, back to the pile, guys. Which I probably should have mentioned. Their original plan to get them to stop coming was like, well, if all the dudes are gay, then there won't be any babies. They can't come. So there's literally just a giant orgy of men, like 1,000 dudes in a giant pile just fucking.
Oh my god.
Can you guys give me like a breakdown of what's happened? Because I remember it was on Comedy Central for 10 years, 12 years. Like I remember there was season after season after season, and then all of a sudden they were moving from like the 3rd grade to the 4th grade or something.
I've been like season 2 or 3, I think, actually.
Yeah, and like there's different little eras of the show. But like, when did they leave Comedy Central, and where are they at now?
They're all HBO Max. It's still on Comedy Central too.
What was the episode where they were being wrestlers? The WWE wrestlers? Like they were legit acting.
WWF.
Is that what it was?
Is that what it was called?
Because that was before they changed. Yeah, I vaguely remember this as well.
All the kids are like acting like they're wrestling, and all these like rednecks start being like, "Oh, look at this!" And then like it becomes like a full on like performance. Like they're like, this is real wrestling," and they're like, "Oh yeah," the kids are like, "Dude, we should be in fucking wrestling class or whatever." And they go to wrestling, and they're talking about like all the costumes they're gonna wear, and they're all wearing singlets. They're like, Carmen's like, "The fuck is this shit?" Like, and then he's like, "I'm gonna put you guys in the official wrestling position." And Carmen gets on his knees and puts some behind him. He's like, what the fuck is this shit, dude? This is so gay. He's like, this is wrestling. He's like, no, man, where's all the costumes? He's like, that's not real wrestling.
Did any of you guys wrestle in school?
Yep.
Yeah, there is a very, very great letdown as you get your singlet and they tell you what you're about to be doing. Like, hey, you know how you want to like suplex dudes and shit? Well, instead of doing that, we're going to run for 12 hours.
Monkey rolls. A lot of my friends that wrestled were.
Banana rolls. My coach was one of those big, like, if you can't control your own body, how are you supposed to control somebody else's body? So, like, for the first 20 minutes, we were like doing cartwheels and handstands and somersaults and, all kinds of shit like that. And then he's like, hey, now that you feel all free and liberated, let's just beat the shit out of each other for a while. I'm going to put the smallest kid, but the biggest kid just to see what happens. Yeah, wrestling in high school is lame. I went to a small school, so it was 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade all practicing together. It was like a 7th grade fat boy. I was like basically forced to shower with high school kids who were like getting laid and had cars and stuff. It was very strange.
My God.
You have to shower after wrestling so you don't get ringworm. It's in the rules.
Yeah.
Congrats on the 6.
Your weird coach has to like inspect you for ringworm sometimes. So he's just like be naked and twirl around for me, boys. And we're just like, okay. Yeah. I'm not sure if that was legit or not.
I wrestled and we did not do that.
We absolutely did that.
I don't
This weaker generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bob.
There's legit some weird things. Yeah, I definitely got my oil checked one too many times. More times than was necessary.
By your coach?
Not by the coach. By the weird kid. There was a weird kid.
Oh, right. Can someone fucking get us back on track for the love of God?
Anyway, so all these rednecks are watching these kids fucking wrestle. And they're like,
take his oil.
Like, what's going on here? And then they
way
start talking about it. He's like, dude, there's this one girl. She's 8 years old. She's had 12 abortions. Like, it's not real.
Yeah,
but
it's amazing.
These rednecks are like, dude, this shit's she's only 8 years old. She's been married twice and had 16 abortions. Like they're like, no way. They're like, yeah, these kids are crazy. But
It is definitely weird how like everybody has at least one person in their family who thinks wrestling's real, right? They like legit think the WWE is legitimate athletic competition and you cannot sway them. They just believe.
I will say, I've changed my mind a little bit. I would say they have to be some kind of athlete.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, yeah.
Like, even though it's a performance, like it's
real.
The dudes at Cirque du Soleil have to be athletes as well, but no one thinks that they're like, hurting each other. Yeah, to be a wrestler is very physically demanding and it's a very athletic endeavor and all those things, but like there's a script and like a guy writes who wins and who loses and it's
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Pretty sure porn's the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. But and very similarly, there's also like weird underground versions that are like done by amateurs where it seems like it might actually be real and you're not really sure. It's very strange.
But let's be completely honest here. Amateur wrestling makes a fuckload less money than OnlyFans models.
I agree. Do you guys remember when backyard wrestling was like a thing and you could like buy their DVDs on TV? Yes. I remember these commercials that played during South Park reruns between 11 and 1 in the morning on Comedy Central in 2009 and 2004, probably actually. And it was also the commercial for, what was it called? The Caribbean music. Dun, 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 dun. Ladies are gonna show you their boobs on this DVD. Give me your money. What was that guy's name? Girls Gone Wild.
Yes.
Girls Gone Wild commercials. Those things are burned into my brain with South Park. Absolutely.
That's funny shit.
Yeah, that checks out. Did anyone else the episode where Kenny dies and not, it's not a joke, like he actually dies for a little bit? That shit make anyone else teary-eyed when they're all fucking like crying and like, Kyle, or I think it's Stan that doesn't go to visit him in time and he actually dies and then he's just a wreck. That shit tore me apart. I was like, God damn, South Park, you got the range.
Remember,
you're funny as hell, make me cry.
They were building a ladder to heaven to go find Kenny to get like their like money back or something like that. And the parents were like,
yes.
Oh my God, they're building a ladder to heaven to go see their friend.
Who's the country singer in that one?
Garth Brooks.
It might have been.
I don't know.
I vaguely remember some of this.
He writes a song about it. He's like, where were you when they built the ladder to heaven?
Trey Parker
is so amazing.
He is so musically talented, man. Like, you guys have seen those documentaries, like there was one documentary that explained their process from start to finish, how they do an episode in a week.
Yeah.
And Trey Parker literally just will go in the studio with absolutely nothing and there'll just be a musical number in like an hour. Like he just does it. It's amazing. I want to be him so badly.
South Park has some awesome songs too. Just like so many awesome songs.
The ones from the movie are my favorite.
I need to watch it again. I haven't seen it in so long.
If you ever met my friend's Kyle's mom, she's the biggest bitch in the whole wide world.
They use that a lot. They use that a few more times.
Me and my brother used to sing that in harmony.
So many ringtones were made from that movie. Because that's what does he say to Mr. Garrison? Suck my balls? That was like every kid's fucking...
Mr. Garrison.
Yeah, that was every kid's ringtone when I was in middle school.
I was listening to Eric's rap he did. Eric, we don't want you to die, Eric.
Yeah, I don't. That's a spoof of Logic, which makes me sad, but it's also super funny.
So good, dude.
Yeah, the musical numbers are one of my favorite parts of the South Park universe. Absolutely. I mean, Chef always had such good stuff. I was so sad when they killed off Chef. I'm gonna make love to you, woman. Gonna lay you down by the fire.
So
I'm surprised your girlfriend didn't just bash through the door when you started singing that.
What bitch you talking about?
She busts through the door on a wave of questionable fluids.
Excellent. That's a we need that.
I know this is off topic, but Family Guy has awesome musical numbers as well.
Yeah.
I gotta say that. First thing that popped in my head, he's talking about musical numbers. Family Guy does an awesome job at musical numbers.
The one where Brian and Stewie are on the train together.
Yes.
Oh my God. through a hard Family Guy phase with a girlfriend. Actually thought that I thought that I saw her when we were getting ice cream and was like, oh no. And then it wasn't her. It was great. I was so happy.
I don't think this happened before you started watching. Did you know that Tweak and Craig are gay together?
I did not know this.
Yeah.
Go on.
It's super funny. I don't know if it's the episode where it comes out where all these girls at their school are drawing this Japanese art of them together, and they aren't together at this point, and they're like, why are you guys doing that? And then by the end of the episode they get together, and now it's a thing. It's like it's actually spanning a few seasons.
So it's like
they're not actually gay, but like everybody thinks
they're gay.
And then now they're together. Like,
yeah, now
so
they're gay.
They got
sure.
shipped, is what you're saying. Like all these girls fan fiction them into a slash fiction relationship, and they realized they were into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that art called? You remember?
I'm not sure.
The
I want to say it's like Yaoi, but I'm not sure.
Well, it's like Japanese.
Oh, God.
Japanese anime, like.
Yeah,
well,
are you talking about
it's
manga?
Because
manga is like Japanese comic books.
They planned like he's like, all right, we're gonna break up in front of everybody, so people think that we're broken up, because they're not gay at this point. They're like, why does everybody think we're gay together? So they're like,
it is Yaoi.
What is it called?
Yaoi. Yaoi. I'm assuming I'm probably saying it wrong, but it's something adjacent to that.
They plan to break up in front of like the whole school, so that everybody thinks they're like broken up. And so like Craig like was like, hey man, I just can't be with you anymore. We gotta stop. And then Tweak for some reason like turns it up to 10 and was like, he's like, you like flips the script and like was like taking it serious. And Craig's like, what the fuck are you doing? So he's like, you got spines, man. You got fucking spines. Craig's like, what the fuck?
Very interested in this dynamic.
Yes.
Good episode.
There was a Kevin Bacon TV show. I can't remember. It was called it was about like a cult leader or something. And they, the cult had placed all these people in strategic places where they could influence things or whatever. But two of the dudes were supposed to like pretend to be lovers and like pretend to be these other people for some unknown reason. And they like just started being together out of nowhere. Like they just one day they were like, oh shit, this is kind of fun.
Yeah, like there's all kinds of shit like that.
We got some more favorite episodes. Anyone got one they need to throw out here? I got a bunch, but
well, I told you the one earlier with the
Licecapades,
where Craig has lice and like it shows the lice like they're like actual beings, like they have like a colony and stuff like that, and they're running around. And they give Craig this the lice shampoo, and all this green stuff starts coming on the scalp. I'm like, whoa, what's this? And like the one like touches it and like his hand starts melting and he falls in and just they're like, oh my god. And so they're all like climbing the hair, and people are like, the lice are like melting in front of other people. And the character, I'm not sure what his name is, like he's the lice main character. He's got a baby, and he's got his wife Kelly. I gotta save my baby. He's like, everybody into the trees, and they're climbing, and then they're watching people like melt and die in this green ooze and stuff like that. And then while they're in the trees, he starts blow drying his hair, and the hair is like, they're like, oh, he's like, hold on, Kelly.
Oh, I love that episode just because of how he talks.
Does it give you vibes like the people in the wall in Royland's Alien show?
Solar Opposites, but
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
One. Yeah, there's whole episodes about these tiny people that the one boy shrinks and has in like a giant terrarium in his wall. They're all just teeny tiny little people living their little teeny tiny lives. It's hilarious.
It's like a spoof of The Day After Tomorrow, sort of.
Yeah, disaster.
Like
movies
that's
were
the
huge
closest
during
thing
that
that I could think.
It gave me vibes of the cartoon where they're like germs, and he's like a detective, and he's got a
Osmosis Jones.
Yes, that's
Chris Rock.
Yes,
I love that movie,
that's
man.
so good.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah,
absolutely. That's a killer
that's
flip.
what it gave me vibes about that show or that movie.
Or like the Rick and Morty where they're inside the Santa Claus homeless man.
Yes.
Pretty dope.
Or Magic School Bus.
Magic School Bus, dude. We're going way back.
Have you seen the Fish Sticks episode, Thomas?
I have seen all the memes. It's the one about Kanye, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
that's a great episode.
Yeah, it's not bad, not
God,
bad.
Such a great episode.
They were really good at generating memes, like creating little tiny bits of jokes that like transcended the show. You know what I mean? Like there was always something that people were like saying to each other from South Park, if that makes sense.
Yep.
God. Sorry, my desk is
Absolutely.
breaking. They always
Talk
had their
about
finger on the pulse.
Talk about a bop of a song. That fake Kanye song at the end of that is so fucking good and catchy. I have it in my head right now. I'm not gonna bless all of you with that, but
Come on.
Do it.
it's so great. No, it's
That's
so
just
auto
ours.
tuned.
Dog.
No, I'll put it in. I wish I could put it in, but I'd probably get copyrighted.
Cool but free with other creatures like me, and now I got my wish. Cause I know that I'm a gay fish.
I already gave you a ladder to heaven, sir.
Do you guys want to? What is your favorite cameo? There were so few actual celebrity cameos on the show. My favorite is George Clooney as the dog. I thought that was just absolutely freaking hilarious.
I'm trying to think. I don't know.
Mel Gibson being fucking psychotic. That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fine too. Like celebrity, where they impersonated them and made fun of them. That's also fine too.
Who is it when they there's the episode where they all have ADHD and they get a bunch of drugs and Cartman's taking it and like he's in the bathroom or something, he walks out in the hallway and then there's like a little bug thing with a celebrity's face on it that goes like meh and then just like scurries back into the room and he's like, whoa. Like who was on that fucking bug?
I don't know.
Was that Mel Gibson too?
It may have been.
I want to know.
My favorite
That's
like
amazing.
cameo. I mean, it's kind of a cameo. It's Jennifer Lopez. Saying, I'm Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah,
That is amazing.
And then I'm not sure who the guy is. Is it shit? I can't remember who the guy actor was, but Jennifer Lopez starts giving
Ben Affleck.
yeah, Ben Affleck
Yeah,
starts giving head in the car, and Cartman's like, "Oh hey!"
Yeah, this is doing like the whole first Benifer with Jersey Girl and what's the Kevin Smith movie they made together? Yeah, that was crazy. Fucking Benifer, man. They're back together. It's crazy. I think my favorite
think
fake celebrity moment was Christina Aguilera. You guys remember?
I'm trying to think.
Had to do with Mr. Slave, if you recall.
Oh, I mean Paris Hilton.
Ooh, yeah, you might be right. You might be right.
Yeah.
He jumps on her and absorbs her into his ass.
Makes Butters be her dog.
I forgot the dog thing. Yeah,
She's
man,
like,
I hated Paris
I'll
Hilton
give you
so
guys
hard.
$10 million for Butters. They're like, oh, Butters, why don't you go up to the room? We're gonna discuss. He's like, Mom, Dad, like, no.
Yeah, they got no love for rich people in South Park whatsoever.
Yeah, then like, well, Paris Hilton's like showing all the girls like, oh yeah, be a slut, like all the little girls are dressing up like sluts and shit like that.
Mhm.
And that was another point in that episode is funny. And then they have a whore off, and then Mr. Slave jumps on Paris Hilton's head and absorbs her into it. But I remember when all the girls were in the hallway at the school, and they're like, all the boys are walking by. They're like, I'd like to, slop on his knob, man. Come to the fucking Bebe's house tonight for a party. And then another boy walks by like, yeah, come to Bebe's party. Yeah, I'd like to crank his shaft and shit like that. And then Cartman walks by and they're just silent. There's another girl that says, or a guy walks by, they say something else. And then Cartman comes back around and he's like, fuck you, baby, fuck you, bitch, and fuck you, bitch. He's walking.
What was the name of the store in that episode? Was it like Stupid Whore?
Yeah, it was like
You remember
Forever
what I'm talking
21
about?
or something, right? Like it was a parody of that.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was Paris Hilton stores. It was like you spoiled whore or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stupid spoiled horror. I think that's what it is. God, that was a great episode too. I haven't even thought about that episode in so long.
Yeah, it was so good. The episode that reminds me of is the reverse of Mr. Slave. It's the PF Chang's episode.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Remember when who's the dad with the
The-
blue shirt?
Randy?
Yeah, Randy poops the biggest turd in the
Oh,
world.
Oh yeah, that's a great episode.
Oh, that was so
Oh,
good.
100 cuties.
When he spins around in a circle while he's shitting this turd, I literally laughed so hard that I couldn't breathe. I was like,
was so
how is this animation funnier than? Oh my god!
Don't you see?
No,
Bono is the record.
And when he can't shit out the turd in that episode, and he's like, Sharon, I'm sorry, Sharon.
Sharon's like,
She's over there with her face covered, like, you're so fucking gross. Oh God.
Yeah.
the beginning was funny too. He shit that turd in the toilet. He's like, hey Sharon, look at this. She's like, oh my God, ready to flush it. He's like, hey Stan, come look what your old man made. And he's like,
Whoa.
no way. He's like, yeah, pretty cool, huh? And he kept it in like a little trophy case and was
Yeah.
spraying it with the fucking water.
To
Keep it
keep it
moisturized.
moist. Yes. Yes.
Oh my God, so good.
Oh man, that was really good. He had a lot of good moments. You guys remember his Wheel of Fortune moment?
Yes. People who
That
annoy.
episode is so good, and it took me like I feel like it took me like 8 watches to realize the point of that episode.
What?
There's like actual like meaning and stuff in that episode. It's not just a joke. Like we all watched South Park. Well, not we all, but I watched, Caden watched South Park when we were probably like fucking way too young to be watching South Park.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that episode probably came out when I was like 13 or 14, and I was like, "Oh, this is so funny, haha, whatever." But then, like, I've been rewatching, I'm like, "Oh, they have like a message and shit.
Yeah.
Like, this is actually pretty cool."
Well, like when you're that young, like you're like, oh, that's that word. Like, and everybody's like, oh shit, he shouldn't have said that word. And you're like wondering, like, well, is that word that bad? And then like you get older, like, oh yeah, that you shouldn't say that word.
Yeah.
I mean, part of the point too was like, sometimes people say things and they don't mean them, but they're still awful. Like, what are you supposed to do then? You know what I mean? Like, sometimes people are just dumb. They're not evil.
He has to,
I know,
he
but
has
I
to-
don't think I should say it. He's like, 5 seconds. Okay, I'll follow. He's like, he says it, and everybody's like, and then she presses it, it's an A.
Yeah.
He's like,
collective gasp.
oh, naggers.
One of my favorite parts of that episode is him having to apologize by kissing Jesse Jackson's ass. I think sure that's what it is. He's like, "Go ahead, apologize."
No, it was Obama, wasn't
Kiss
it?
it. No,
I think it was
Definitely
Jesse
not
Jackson.
Obama.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, this is way.
apologize.
He's also the finger bang dad too, right?
Yes, he is. He is the
Yeah.
finger bang dad.
And he also had a lot
Great
of really great
episode.
moments in the shake weight episode. Yeah, Randy doesn't get his due. He's actually a really solid.
Oh no, he
character.
does. Oh, he does.
I'm
You
saying
gotta
like
watch.
he's not who I
like
think of when I think about
Oh,
South
no.
Park, but
he's like. So the last few seasons, he's like more central than some of the boys actually.
Yeah,
like,
I
he
he's-
wonder if
he-
Trey. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I wonder if Trey feels more empathy towards Randy's character now that he's an old dad. You know what I mean?
I don't know. He turned him into Karen. Like they literally started calling him Karen, and he got the fucking Karen haircut, and he had to go bitch out the water park owner on the last one to save everyone. It was so fucking, it's so good. That's
You
one
feel
of my
that
favorite
way as a
things from
parent
recently.
sometimes, though. Like you feel like you're like becoming things that you hated as a child, but like they're necessary. Like I get that feeling, and like feeling lame for what you love is also a big part of like being old and having kids. You know what I mean? Like him being like obsessed with the being in the boy band again and like wanting to feel young and like I don't know. I feel like there's stuff in there that comes with crossing the 30-year barrier and feeling old as fuck.
Dan, you haven't said much, brother.
His
You have an
mic's
episode
muted.
that you have,
I'm just listening.
you have an episode that you just like. Oh my god, this is fucking hilarious.
There's a lot of good ideas being shared here on both sides. Yes, Colin, I'm looking at you and your fucking squinted eyes.
Hello, shitty walk. Take a water, please.
There it is.
You didn't give an answer, Dan. You're like, oh yeah, this is great. Oh yeah, I don't got shit. Fuck you.
About a favorite episode?
Yeah, give us one. Let's go.
My favorite episode probably of all time is, well, it's probably Scott Tenorman Must Die.
Ah, fuck you, Dan. Fucking whore. We're talking at work all day today. He's telling me, oh, my favorite episodes are this, and this, and they're all trash.
No, you.
But now he talks about my favorite episode.
No, you asked
he's just
me,
gonna jack that shit out.
Okay, whenever he shuts the fuck
God, he's just the worst. This fucking guy sucks.
up. He wouldn't give me any inclination as to what his favorites were. So there was no, like, behind the scenes or no fucking spoon feeding anything here. First off, you asked me what my favorite episode of all time was, and I said, I don't know. I'll have to think on it. And this is my answer.
You done been thinking, Cullen.
Yeah.
No.
My favorite fucking episode is, I was going to lead this off earlier. Where, like, have you ever just had that where you've had such a bad fucking day that somebody fed you your own parents? That's where I was going to lead that off with, but it's a sticky situation.
There's a Criminal Minds episode about
Should probably
that.
explain the episode.
It's where Scott, a child in the neighborhood named Scott Tenorman, pisses off Cartman. Why doesn't really matter, because the response is so out of proportion. It's just unjustified, but it's amazing. And eventually, to get the last laugh, Cartman decides, "Fuck you! I'm gonna kill your parents, grind them up into meat, and put them in chili, and make you eat them in a chili eating or tasting contest." Yeah. And he eats it and he loves it and he eats all kinds of it and he's like, "Good, it was your parents, man." And it was just amazing. It's probably like the greatest revenge I could have ever.
Doesn't Scott sell him pubic hair?
Oh, and
Yes.
yes, and he like
Cartman's
licks his tears.
Cartman's like, "I got my first pubic hair, boys." They're like, "What?" They're like, "Let me see." He's like, in a little baggie. He's like, or no, he held him in his hand. He's like,
Yeah.
I got my pubic hairs. They're like, "You gotta grow them, dude." He's like, "Nah." You paid $20 for fucking pubic hairs, dude. Someone else's pubic hairs.
They're probably his
The
dad.
best. Not the best. Besides the chili thing, one of my favorite parts about that episode is his plan before making him eat his parents is to get a pony to bite his wiener off.
Yes.
And he's got a pony
I do
at the
remember
farm. He's got a pony at the farm with the fucking scarecrow with the hot dog out his pants. He's like, "Go on, pony, bite it, bite his wiener." And the pony starts licking. He's like, "No, pony, you'll like that."
Yeah, I very much remember the wiener part now that you mentioned that. No one's talked about one of my favorite side characters yet.
Tally.
Mr. Saddam Hussein.
Oh, dude.
That's the one. That's a really good intro. When
Yeah,
I don't remember what episode that is and what happens, but when he just fucking with him at the very beginning, like
guy.
that's a definite good one.
Yeah, I can't think of any better way to besmirch somebody like Saddam Hussein. Like, not only is he like gay and slimy and a liar, but he's also just fucking the devil. Like, how much lower can you get than that? You know what I mean?
Who am I thinking of? Because I just realized what you're talking about is the devil and him sleeping together. But there's an episode where maybe it's a Family Guy episode, but I don't think it is. Where Cartman
Cross
just like
the
fucks with him.
streams.
It's the one where they get the goat from Iraq, and then they go to Iraq to give the goat back, and then they run into this terrorist leader that I don't think is Saddam Hussein.
Osama bin Laden, because they did a whole
Yes,
thing
thank
with
you.
him. Yeah.
That's what it was. That's what I was thinking of.
Oh.
And Cartman just fucks with him like it's Looney Tunes, and it's
Yeah, they got
amazing.
a
was,
whole bunch of death threats over that for sure.
He was on the Jersey Shore episode where they're like holding off because like Jersey's like moving west all the way across the United States, so everything to Colorado is New Jersey, and so like they got all the barricades set up, and they're like, just shooting at these fucking Jersey people and shit. People are like, "Yeah, it's so creeping in this town, man." And then Randy called Al Qaeda to help. He's like, they're like, oh, why are you calling us? He's like, listen, you don't understand. He's like, it's not just going to be here. It's going to take over. They're going to take over the whole world. And then all these planes start coming in, just fucking dive bombing into the fucking crowd, the giant like crowd of people. They're like, it's Al Qaeda. They're like, yeah. And then they're in a church giving Osama bin Laden an award, like, oh, your bravery and shit. And some like Navy SEAL guy ropes down and plugs Osama bin Laden in the back of the head. And Randy's like, we got him.
And then it ends.
Man, do you ever wonder if they start at the end sometimes and work their way backwards? They're like, listen, I want this fucking ridiculous thing that should not be possible logically to ever happen to happen at the end of the episode. How do we get there?
Could definitely be that way.
God, when Snooki was in the bar, all the kids were in there, and
she's like Gollum, right?
Yes.
They were planning to put Kyle in the freezer because he's, Jersey, or he's from Jersey. So, and then like, Carter, what the hell's behind you? He's like, you're lying. He's like, no, seriously, dude, what the fuck's behind you? He's like, I don't know. He's like, dude, what the fuck is that? It's Snooki. And she's running around and she's like humping all the kids. Yes. Snooki went smush smush.
That's what it is.
Their muff is cabbage, right? I do remember that. Oh my
Buff
goodness.
cabbage.
Yes.
Oh, dude, when she's got Cartwheel on the ground, he's like, you guys, she's raping me. She's raping me.
I do. One of my favorite dynamics in the show is how just absolutely unlovable Cartman is. So like he's allowed to do all these terrible things, but also like terrible things can happen to him, and you're like, meh. Like the giant satellite comes out of his ass, and he's just like whimpering in pain, like a puppy, and you're just like, hey, fuck that guy.
It reminds me when they were in the lab and they're trying to get this salad to come out. They tell Kyle to put his finger in his ass to get to come out. It keeps farting. Kyle's like, quit, Cartman. Kenny's laughing. He's like, all right, man, I'm done. He goes, he's like, it's like he did it like 6 times. And then Kyle's like, okay, charge. He just rams his hand in his ass.
That's not the end of it either. Remember when he's in prison?
Yes. Oh my God. So good. Go for it.
Speaking of things up people's asses, I know there's a special moment in Caden's heart where things are shoved up Butter's ass.
Oh my God.
Yes, you shared that video with us. I remember now.
What was it about? It was
the CSI investigation of who?
When he's being Postman Butters and Trucker Butters and Professor Chaos, and
he's going to the therapist, and they said like he's like, because he's like doing stuff as his but the therapist has multiple personality fucking disorder, and he's taking Butters places. Like they go to a bank and they rob the bank, and then his therapist comes back. He's like, Butters, what are you doing? He's like, got a fucking blow like a torch up to the safe. He's like, what? He's like, Butters, what are you doing? Stop, Butters. He's like, well, you just told me to. He's like, but anyway, so like they take Butters to the hospital, and the doctor's like doing all these tests on Butters, and he's putting him up in this fucking machine. And there's this like it picks him up and like bends him over, and there's balloons going brrr, like getting closer like to his ass, and it shows Butters going it's like getting just thrashed by this fucking thing. And the doctor's like, don't worry, Mr. and Mrs. Stotch, whatever traumatized your son in his past, we'll find it. And he's on getting fucking destroyed by this machine.
oh
so
God,
good. That's pretty good. I like the
trying to look up the episode of in prison to get the list of things that he sneaks into prison, but I can't find it.
One's like he had to it was like a Chutes and Ladders game or something.
Yeah.
One was like a board game.
It was a giant square with very pointy corners, is what I remember. I can't. I thought it was like Kerplunk or something.
And then he goes to like Disney World and he sneaks in a bunch of shit from there at the end, but they don't ever show it because he's trying to be nice to Romper Stomper.
Oh,
As far as I
that's so
remember all
good.
this shit.
Yeah, you always talk about how you don't have a memory for stuff.
We're getting it going today.
What was the
Excellent.
episode? Oh, that's the same.
That's the hate
one
crime.
where, I'm trying to think about the therapist one where Butters gets traumatized. That's the same episode where the sushi restaurant opens up
Yep.
next to the China Walk
Yeah.
or the city
Shitty Walk.
Yeah, Shitty Walk. That's so good. Fucking
It's the little things like that that make you love Trey. Like,
yes.
the sign very clearly says City Walk, but he literally gets to say the word shit on cable television like 1,000 times because he's doing that stupid accent. I bet that
Welcome,
tickled
Shitty
him.
Walk. Take your order, please. I love that fucking character. That's such a good tertiary character.
It is. Well, it turns out he's the therapist. He just has multiple personality disorder, and his, one of his personalities is, being the Asian man
Oh my
And-
God, guys.
having the fucking City Walk.
I just found a list on Reddit that is every bad thing Cartman has ever done in chronological order.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's gonna take us 6 episodes to read it.
It
Oh,
goes
shit.
up to 492.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That actually sounds a little short.
Give me a number,
but-
everybody. One at a time. Just give me a number between 100 or 1 and 492.
54.
Scroll, let me scroll. Everybody think of their number. 54. Me and Butters have sex with old guys.
When did he do that?
I don't know. It doesn't list the episodes, but Jesus God, that's terrible.
Does Caden, Dan, do you guys remember him?
I remember, I'm trying to think.
Oh my God, do you remember the Nambla episode? Speaking of
God,
Butters,
yes.
Jesus God. That was
that's
hard to
that was
watch.
Cartman.
Yeah.
That was a Cartman episode because he was like the poster child and he didn't realize what was going
Yeah,
on.
but didn't Butters, didn't he try to be
They-
like
a lot
Cartman?
of 'em.
And- yeah.
Yeah, he got he recruited all the guys. He's like, I'm more mature than you. You can't come hang out with me, blah, blah, whatever. And then, there's like a scene where the adults are chasing him through the fucking hotel room, like between the doors, like a Scooby-Doo thing.
Yes.
Ah, that's a good
Give
episode.
me a number, Cullen.
305.
We got told the anger management doctor's wife that he was having video chats with 14-year-old girls because he called him fat.
His wife
Jesus
killed
Christ.
his wife killed herself, and
Yeah.
he's like, I'm not big boned. Or I'm not fat, I'm big boned.
Give me a number 10. This is awesome. 1 through
You-
492.
14.
250.
250. 250. Hung Butters up on a tetherball pole with his underwear.
Why the
Butters is
fuck is
really
it
getting the
Butters?
short end of the stick here.
I love Butters is my favorite character.
His voice does get me.
And him just like he has like a super aggressive laugh every now and then where he's just fucking laughing so much harder than everyone else and it always gets me.
Yeah, I have great empathy for that.
What was it?
Fair.
Where Lemmy Winks or the WikiLeaks was posting on the
As we said,
anonymous.
Lemmy Winks is a whole different thing, right? That's the Kenny and the bus driver
it's-
thing, right?
What's
No,
their?
it's
that's
in that
Mr.
same
Slave.
episode.
Too much stuff goes up too many people's holes in this show for it to have 4 kid main characters.
But what was I saying? So on this one, like someone's posting on the school like message board, like about people, like people's business and shit like that. And Stan said someone's butt crack was hot or something like that. And so Stan's like all these kids, he's like, we need to put a stop to this, And Wendy, who's dating Stan, she was like, especially when you're talking about girls' butt cracks, and Butter's like, that's the funny
Yep.
laugh, dude.
Trust and privacy. We have to all work together to put an end to eavesdropper once and for all. Yes, Kyle. So just to be completely clear, now it isn't funny, right? What's funny about having our private lives hacked into? Especially when they're writing about your boyfriend's addiction to crack. Shut up, Butters.
That's so,
Oh, that's amazing.
it's so good, dude. Your boyfriend's addiction to crack.
The episode where Cartman turns into Dog the Bounty Hunter because he's the fucking hall monitor.
I'm the
Bra.
the big bad dog.
What's the
man.
one where he's a cop and he has the fucking glasses? I do remember that too. That
Respect
was
my
early on.
authority. I'm a cop, and you will respect my authority.
They're all on big wheels.
Yes, that's a great episode.
I'm
I
taking her
just
out to
remember one
jail.
of my favorite episodes ever that I forgot existed until just now. Dan, do you remember the episode where all the men's balls swelled up so big they had
Yes.
to ride on them?
Yeah, they all tried to get testicular cancer, so they got medical marijuana cards. Yeah, I do remember that.
So good, dude.
God damn it.
My favorite part of that episode is fucking Randy out in the yard with the tan thing that fold out tan thing that people use to like tan their upper body, whatever, and he's got it on like his crotch, and he's like, "Tell him I'm just gonna get a little cancer, Stan. Tell her it's okay. Just trying to get a little cancer." Like,
Dude,
oh,
he has his
so
dick
funny.
and balls in the fucking microwave, and he's like, "Hey, Stan, grab me a beer." Microwaving his fucking nutsack, dude.
Oh, what about the episode where he wants to be a dolphin? I'm remembering so many funny Randy things now that we were talking about him.
That was Kyle's dad. That was the dolphin.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Because he wanted to be a basketball player, right?
Yep.
And he used his testicles as kneecaps or something.
Yep.
Refresh my memory.
Is that Ika Penis? I think that's the name of that episode where it's Mr. Garrison is like growing a wiener. I think it's the same episode. Maybe I'm wrong. He grows a wiener because he had a sex change, and then he grows the wiener back on the back of a mouse because they know how to do that now. And then the mouse gets out, and there's just a penis running around town.
Yes, because they did the ear with the rat. I remember that.
Yep.
In line with the testicle enlargement episode. Isn't that the same episode where Cartman starts dealing in KFC?
Yes.
That's so good. He starts because KFC is illegal, isn't it?
Because they think
Yeah.
it's causing cancer or something.
He's like,
Because
Or no,
of all
it's
the
just bad for you.
Maybe.
Cartman, I need you to pick up a load for me. He's like, what are we talking about? He's like, 4 family meals and 6 sides, and he's like, holy fuck. And he starts dealing with.
Was that supposed to be like a? Was that supposed to be a Blow? Like a parody of the movie Blow?
Maybe.
Never seen it.
I know, like Colonel Sanders is like the Pablo Escobar of like
Yes.
KFC. So
Yes.
I told you, Eric, a long time ago, don't fuck with me,
Don't fuck me.
cocksucker. Don't fuck with me. That's what he says. Don't fuck with me, cocksucker.
There's another one that I can't recall what the episode's actually about, but it has to do with like a smart car. And like, yeah, like every time they're like, this car's awesome. Nothing could be wrong with this car. It's like, by the way, while you drive it, we have to put this safety shaft up your rectum to keep you
Yeah, that's
stabilized
the
in the
it.
vehicle.
Mr. Garrison gets tired of using airports, so he makes this vehicle that's on a gyroscope so it can travel super fast. It's way better than the airports, but you have to jerk off the handles to fucking steer, and it holds you into space with a dick up your ass. It's really great. And
You have to
Yeah,
do something with your mouth
and they're
too,
like-
right?
yes, you have to blow it with your mouth, and and they're like, still better than going to the airport.
Dan, what was the episode I was telling you about the gluten?
I don't remember the name of that episode, but yeah, where that was when the whole gluten craze was starting. And everybody's
Yeah.
dicks was like turning into rockets and exploding.
He's
They
like,
got like
yes.
locked in a pizzeria.
"That's so good."
It was a Papa John's.
The scientist is up on stage. He's like, "This is the pure form of concentrated gluten. It's perfectly safe." And Mr. Garrison's like, or not Mr. Garrison, Mr. Mackey's like, "If it's safe, eat that pure concentrated gluten." He's like, "Huh? Eat that pure concentrated gluten." He's like, "Okay." And his dick start going like a rocket. He's like, Mr. Mackey's like, "Oh, look, see his dick's flying off."
It's funny. That's a parody of a thing where I can't remember what the name of it is. It's a pesticide that farmers use like as part of a farming system I can't remember what it's called. And the spokesman for it was like, you could drink a glass of this and you'd be fine. And the interviewer's like, would you like to drink a glass? We brought one. He's like, well, I'm not doing that. Like, it was like a big thing in the news at the time. I bet it had to be the exact same time
Probably.
this is happening.
Me and
current.
one of my best friends, Dean, shout out Dean. We always quote that episode because at the very beginning, it's like they're in the conference room, all the teachers, and they're like, oh, Mr. Mackey's on his new gluten diet. He doesn't shut the fuck up about it. And he's like, I don't eat gluten anymore, McClay, and I feel so fucking amazing. And it's so awesome. Fucking quote that shit all the time. I feel so fucking amazing.
This is the episode where he takes off his tie and becomes normal. You guys
Like his head
remember that?
deflates.
Yeah. And he's like
Yeah.
super chill, and he's
I think he loses his job for some reason in that one.
yeah. I think
He
he's
like
Cartman,
starts
right?
smoking weed.
No, he
Maybe.
brought weed. He's like, this is marijuana. He's like,
Oh yeah.
go ahead and pass it back up to the front class, and everybody's just like, he's like, fuck, like, where's the weed at? No one turned it in. Then he got fired. Then became
Oh,
addicted to
yeah.
like fucking meth and shit like that, didn't he?
I think he just smoked a lot of weed.
Was it weed? I thought it was meth or something like that. He's fucking cracked out, lost his job. That's a
I think something happens where he has to put his tie back on so that he can like save the day. And I can't remember, but I just watching his head deflate, I thought was so fucking hilarious. Like, do you think they came up with his character and planned that? They're like, one of these days, we're gonna deflate this dude's head. We're just gonna save it.
what was the episode where they go into Mr. Mackey's mind because he's a hoarder and Stan becomes a hoarder? Like his locker's like really bad. Like,
What?
oh yeah, dude. They go to like a therapist and they're like laying in. They hook him up, and Stan goes back into Mr. Mackey's past, and he's making Mr. Mackey's getting bullied, and they think that's why he's hoarding, and they come to find out like he gets like
Molested.
by a woodsy owl, like their mascot. It's kind of like the bear we have. Only you can prevent wildfires,
Right.
but it's like his name's a woodsy owl, but like there's like Stan goes back in time, and then some like sheep herder because they think he's a hoarder too, but he's like, I'm a sheep herder, and they're like, yeah, you're a hoarder. He's like, no, that I heard sheep, and they're like, nope, you're a hoarder. They put him in Mr. Mackey's mind, and then like this group goes back in. They send firefighters in, a pizza delivery guy into Mr. Mackey's mind. It's a fucking
It's a
casserole.
spoof of Inception.
Oh, okay.
And only firefighters can take ladders into dreams, Caden. God.
It's just a casserole of nonsense, dude. I'm telling you.
That's tremendous.
It's
That's a
really
great
good.
way to describe South Park as a whole. Casserole of nonsense.
My favorite part of that woodsy owl thing is another thing that I quote with my friend Dean all the time is I'll give a hoot, Mr. Owl. Okay, I'll give a hoot. That's what he's saying when he's getting molested by the owl. He's like, I'll give a hoot.
That
So
is
good.
terrible.
Privates was yeah. Don't touch my privates was yeah. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
I'll give a hoot. Okay.
And he's so tiny. Still got a big head.
Yeah,
Oh
the
my
big
God,
head.
dude.
I don't know what it is about that big head. I'm still mad they killed Chef. I think that was bullshit.
I think the voice actor wanted off. I think that's all that was.
I know they should have he could have had a cooking accident or like a sex accident and like became mute and had like a robot voice or something. They could have kept him. He could have sung
Yeah.
They could have brought T-Pain in to do the auto-tuned singing version of all of his Chocolate Ball songs. It would have been so good. I love that character. But yeah, rest in peace,
Yeah.
Mr. Isaac Hayes.
What is that club called? The Adventure Club or something like that?
Yeah, the Adventure
Where-
Club.
where
Super
they
Adventure
learn-
Club, maybe?
Something like that. Where they learn they can have sex with like kids and they like live like forever. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
they have sex with kids
immortality.
and they absorb, they have like a life force. I don't remember what they call the life force, but having sex with children, boys in particular, gives them the life force from the boys. That's what they
Forever.
believe. And I think it's an actual organization that actually believes that because if
Fuck
you
all
remember
that.
the Scientology episode where they explain what Scientology actually believes, it's
Yeah.
like, this is what these people actually believe. They do the same
Oh,
thing in that
How
episode.
did we not bring that episode up? That is such a great
Great
episode.
episode.
Scientology one and the Mormonism one.
Yep.
Didn't talk about Book of Mormon either. You guys seen any clips from Book of Mormon?
Yes, dude.
Ugh.
Mm-mm.
What's the guy's name who made it? Book of Mormon?
Um, um, yes.
Martin Harris, something like that?
Nope.
Or no?
Nope.
I'm
That's
looking
the
it up.
guy
Hold on.
who
Hold on.
he
It's
told
coming.
about the golden plates.
Brigham
Musical-
Young is the next guy after him. Come on, Dan. Where's your weird religious knowledge we share?
What is it?
The guy
It
who
says
founded
musical-
Mormonism.
Mormonism.
I have no idea.
Uh,
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't know that's
Brigham
what we were
Young
looking up.
is
I
the-
know that.
Brigham Young is
He's
the guy who
the-
took over after.
Yeah.
Is this Brigham Young
Fuck.
University in Salt Lake City?
Joseph Smith. That's
Joseph
who it is.
Smith. There we go.
That
I always
song
get
is
him-
hip hop too.
I get him confused with the guy from Plymouth Rock and Pocahontas all the time.
Is Martin Harris. Joseph Smith tells Martin Harris about the golden plates, and then Martin Harris goes home and tells his wife, like, no, he's lying, he's an idiot. And the song's like, Martin or Lucy Harris, smart. Martin Harris, dumb.
Dum 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 dum. Yeah.
Yep.
Love that, man.
Great song.
We should have a whole half-hour episode where all we do is sing these songs. It'll be hilarious.
Very good.
You ever met my friend Kyle's mom?
Well, Cosmo's
All right. Since I would imagine we're like at an hour and change here, I
Sure.
think we should do some favorites and then get out of here because Dan stole my favorite because he's an asshole. But my second favorite is the succubus episode where Seth Chef gets married to a succubus and they have to sing her song backwards to get rid of her. But it's also the episode with my favorite joke in South Park where the tree fitty and the Loch Ness monster. Goddamn Loch Ness monster. Oh, it's so good.
This is one of my favorites. It's number 3 on this article. The Return of the Fellowship of the Ring to the Two Towers. So pretty much it says, Randy accidentally mixes up a Lord of the Rings DVD with an extreme adult film, and the boys go on a quest to return the DVD to the Two Towers rental store. Parents scramble to get the DVD back before the kids see it. 8th graders find out what the DVD is and want to steal it. And poor Token watches the DVD and is really traumatized.
Didn't talk about
Um,
Token either.
Doesn't Butters watch it in the basement? And he's like, my precious.
Yes.
A tremendous finale as the boys parents describing very adult situations to their sons who haven't even seen the film. Their fumbled attempt to shield the boys from explicit material places the parents in the position of exposing graphic truth to their innocent and visibly concerned children.
Classic South
Do you
Park.
remember?
So
You
kids
remember
don't
the
even
name
watch
of
it.
the video? Backdoor
No.
Sluts 9.
God, yes, dude.
Apparently,
pretty
all you gotta
much-
do is jog my fucking memory a tiny bit, and then I'm just like, I got it all. I
See, I'm
remember.
all the same way, dude.
Good to know. I don't know. I think the
Any
Shake
other-
Weight one is probably one of my favorites.
Keep going.
That cat
Yeah.
fair joke was just so
You're
good.
doing great.
Sometimes you just need a good old fashioned.
Should we mention Tally? I feel like Tally should probably get mentioned.
Yeah.
Tally's a solid character.
Yes.
He's one of those like he's like the fun uncle on a sitcom where like he's gonna pop in from time to time and they could totally leave him out. So that wouldn't be a big deal if he wasn't ever there. You're just like, oh, it's
He's
the guy.
He's in the new seasons more too because Randy buys a weed farm.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, he's like this. Like
It
I
is
said, he's like the
Colorado,
center
right?
point of the last couple. Yeah,
They
That
have
makes
the
sense.
pandemic special. Yeah.
Randy started COVID. Did you know that?
No.
Oh,
He
yeah.
had sex with the pangolin with Mickey Mouse. I wish I was kidding.
First,
That started
He-
COVID.
I have to check in. I might have to catch up.
what did they do? Didn't he fuck a bat first? And
Yeah, he
they
fucked
thought
a bat and he
they
thought it was
a
that.
bat. And oh my god! Then they're like, "Oh, never mind. It's a pangolin." He was like, "Oh shit, I did
Then he
that too."
flashes back.
Him and Mickey Mouse are fucking a pangolin. It's like, oh my god, dude,
know.
it's so good. But
And
Towley,
Randy also doesn't he also murder Winnie the Pooh in that episode?
either he does or Mickey Mouse does. He goes to China with weed to sell, to China, and then he gets arrested.
Yeah, they don't play over in China.
But Towley's always like, I'm gonna make a decision, but first I gotta get a little high.
A lot of the voices really do lend to the humor. Like the writing is half of it, but the voices, man.
Yeah.
Like Butters, especially.
Is there anything else
I
you
love
want to
Butters.
cover?
Oh, that was fun.
I'm just trying to think. We could talk about this for fucking 16 episodes. So
We
I
might just
mean,
have to do a second one where we do some more research and try to rank them or something.
maybe Butters. Nice
Shout out
sweatshirt.
Butters.
Everyone knows it's colors.
Lulu. You got some apples. Lulu.
Lulu,
You got some.
I got some too. Lulu, let's get together. I know what we can do, Lulu. Remember when they do the talent show and Butters is going to sing that song and he just pisses himself and then runs off?
Yeah, he gives me real Little Rascals vibes. Butters does.
Poor Butters.
Remember when Jimmy's trying to do stand-up comedy, but gets bricked up in front of everybody? Oh, dude.
Remember Hooked on Phonics Monkey?
Yes.
And he's like he's the monkey drums so Cartman can remember how to spell. And then he's at the spelling bee and the monkey's like off to the side of the stage and he's like, come on, monkey, drum. And he won't drum. And then he misspells the word and then he chases he runs off to the side of the stage and chases the monkey like, God damn it, monkey.
Dan, got anything, friend?
No, that's basically it for me.
So what you're
Okay.
saying is, Cole and I have watched way too much South Park, is what you're
Yeah.
trying to say.
A little bit. Just a wee bit.
No.
Yeah.
There's no thing that is too much.
That's true.
No such thing.
We'll talk
We're
about
gonna do
Family
it. That's
Guy.
what we'll do.
Family Guy too. I mean, I could go all day about that as well.
We're gonna do a South Park podcast eventually. We go over each episode.
Yes.
I'd listen to that.
Me too.
Probably exists already.
Probably, but it doesn't exist with us.
Yeah, so fuck them. Fuck your South Park podcast.
Whoever you are.
Ours is better.
Mashy. We got the podcast.
Anyone want to tell the people where they can find us and all the things?
You can find us on all the things.
True. That is accurate.
Look
Find
us
us
up on Twitter.
On Twitter, at HighViz, Caden, Cullen, Dan, and Thomas.
And podcasts.
And podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
Deezer,
YouTube,
my favorite
Apple
one.
Podcast. I'm not sure what you guys Reddit is. Reddit. I'm not sure what the. It's
I
not
don't
at.
think either of us are really using Reddit anymore.
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
We need
I
about
still use
10,000
it, but
more
not-
fans to have a subreddit that matters.
Yeah.
Facebook, Highly Visible Podcast. Follow us on there. Give us like, share, rate the channel. Give us some ratings. That'll
Yeah,
help out.
Download the
Download.
podcast.
Download the
Download
podcast.
it, yes.
Absolutely.
Subscribe.
Even if you don't get to
Review.
it this week, download it so that it gets downloaded and then listen to it at your leisure. We're not
Yes.
picky.
Exactly.
Yeah. Algorithm. Subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe. There you go.
Like,
Algorithm.
like, comment, share.
Interact. Please give us all of your mental energy because we desperately want your approval.
Yes.
TikTok.
But if you
We're also on TikTok.
what we should say is just hey, our link tree is linktree/highly visible. That's where all the stuff is.
We got a lot of stuff
All of
on
our
there.
stuff.
Try not to
Okay.
step in any of our stuff. We left it everywhere.
Yes, we did.
All right, goodbye. Goodbye, listeners. I love you.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Goodbye.